Assalamu alaikum. This is me Usman Makhdoom and you are watching my YouTube channel Usman Makhdoom FD. Today we will discuss about the current scenario of the food security in the world. Well, before the COVID-19 pandemic, we were already not on the track to meet our commitments to end world hunger and malnutrition in all its forms by 2030. Now the pandemic has made this significantly more challenging. After remaining virtually unchanged for the 5 years, the prevalence of the undernourishment increased 1.5 percentage points in 2020, reaching a level of around 9.9%, heightening the challenge of achieving the zero hunger target by 2030. Between 720 and 811 million people in the world faced hunger in 2020. Considering the middle of the projected areas, 768 million, around 118 million more people were faced hunger in 2020 than in 2019. Compared with 2019, about 46 million more people in Africa, 57 million more in Asia, and about 14 million more in Latin America and the Caribbean were affected by the hunger in 2020. Around 660 million people may still face hunger in 2030, in part due to the lasting effects of the COVID-19 pandemic on the global food security. 30 million more people than in scenario in which the pandemic had not occurred. While the global prevalence of the moderate or severe food insecurity has been slowly on the rise since 2014, the estimated increase in 2020 was equal to that of the previous 5 years combined. Nearly 1 in 3 people in the world, approximately 2.37 billion, did not have access to adequate food in 2020, an increase of almost 320 million people in just 1 year. Close to 12% of the global population was severely food insecure in 2020, representing the 928 million people, 148 million more than in 2019. At the global level, the gender gap in the prevalence of the moderate or severe food security has grown even larger in the year of the COVID-19 pandemic. The high cost of the healthy diets, coupled with the persistent high level of income inequality, put healthy diet out of the reach for around 3 billion people, especially in the poor, in every region of the world in 2019. Globally, malnutrition in all its forms also remain a challenge, although it's not yet possible to fully account for the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020. It's estimated that 22%, approximately 149.2 million of the children under 5 years of the age were affected with stunting. 6.7%, approximately 45.4 million were suffering from the wasting, and 5.7%, approximately 38.9 million were overweight. The actual figures are expected to be higher due to the effects of the pandemic. Africa and the Asia account for more than 9 out of the 10 of all children with stunting, more than 9 out of 10 children with wasting, and more than 7 out of 9 children who are affected by overweight worldwide. Depending on the context, there are 6 pathways to follow toward food system transformation, integration, humanitarian development, and peaceful building policies in the conflict affected areas, scaling up climate resilience across the food systems, strengthening the resilience of the most vulnerable to the economic adversity, intervening along the food supply chains to lower the cost of the nutritious food, tackling the poverty and structural inequalities, ensuring the interventions are pro-poor and inclusive, and strengthening the food environments and changing the consumer behavior to promote the dietary patterns with a positive impact on the human health and the environment. 5. That most systems are affected by more than one driver. The formulation of the comprehensive portfolios of the policies, investments, and legislation may be elaborated along several pathways simultaneously. This will allow for maximizing their combined effects on the food system transformation, exploiting win-win solution and mitigating the undesirable trade-offs. Coherence in the formulation and the implementation of the policies and investments among the food, health, social protection and the environmental system is also essential to build on synergies towards more efficient and effective food system solutions. System approaches are needed to build coherent portfolios of the policies, investments and legislation and enable win-win solutions while managing trade-off, including territorial approaches, ecosystem approaches. While 2020 was an immense challenge for the world, it may also be a warning of unwelcome events to come if more resolute actions to change occur has not taken. Because the major drivers have their own trajectory and will continue to occur. The UN Food System Summit 2021 will bring forward a series of the concrete actions to support the transformation of the food systems. The UN Food System Summit 2020 will bring forward a series of the concrete actions to support a transformation of the world food systems. The 6 transformation pathways identified in this report are needed for greater resilience to specifically address the negative impact of the major drivers behind the recent rise in the hunger and slowing process to reduce the malnutrition in all its forms. Thank you for watching.